Hey, how you doing? This is Craig Beck from StopDrinkingExpert.com. Welcome in to the live feed for today. It's been a while since I've done one, so I thought I'd just throw one out for today. I can see your comments no matter where you're watching it. So if you're on YouTube, I can see you. If you're on Facebook and various other locations, I can see what you're saying. So if you have any questions at any point, just jump in and I'll try and help out as much as I can. Do you like the new glasses? I'm so old now that I need special glasses. These are my normal glasses. I need special glasses just to use the computer. That's how old I am. So it doesn't have to. What I want to talk to you about today is socializing and friendships, because certainly when you stop drinking, your social scene is going to change. And there's no way around that. That's what I want to talk about predominantly, but actually you can ask me anything. So if you're at the start of this journey and you're just getting sober, or if you haven't started yet and you're still thinking about it, you're still worried about your drinking, ask me anything you want. If there's anything that's worrying you or causing an obstacle to you, then just post it up. And if I see your comment, I promise I'll try and give you my best answer. It might not be right, but I'll give you the best go at it. Yeah. Let's say hello to a few people. Steve Hale, morning from the UK. Where are you in the UK, Steve? I just spoke to my daughter up in Yorkshire. She said it was raining and cold. Alexander from Serbia. And hello from Las Vegas. Hi to Spice. John Foy. 3 years off the drink. Nice, John. That's pretty impressive. Nikita. It's okay. I have no friends. Okay. Steve W. Hi from down under. 2 years ago since I've been to Australia. It seems like I used to travel at least once a month. I was all over the place. I think 2019, I was in Toronto, Canada, Sydney, Australia, Bangkok, Thailand, Barcelona in Spain, Dublin in Ireland, London many times. This year, this last 16, 18 months, nowhere. It's just been so weird. Morning to Anne Davison. Morning, Anne. Good to have you on board. And Avinash from India. Okay, got a nice big broad spectrum of people here today. Steve Hale says, I gave up alcohol for 2 years, started again 12 months ago. This time I'm struggling to give it up again. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes, Steve. The first time you stop using a mindset change, it's almost spookily easy sometimes. You do it and you think, and you get a few months under your belt and you think, well, actually that wasn't difficult at all. And the problem is as time goes on, you kind of lose sight of how horrible it was when you were in that loop of drinking. And then you start thinking, well, it was so easy to quit drinking this time. Maybe I can just have one drink, and it trips you up. But then the problem is when you go to stop drinking for a second time using a mindset shift, you have a whole heap of doubt in there now, because the thing that worked before actually failed. And you start to doubt that you're going to be able to do it again. You start to almost create a self-fulfilling prophecy that I failed before, therefore everything I do from now on is going to result in failure. And, it is more difficult the second time around, the third time around, the 10th time around. But the way to look at this, Steve, is I always tell people it's a bit like, if you were diagnosed with diabetes but pretty mild, and the doctor said to you, look, as long as you avoid these foods and you take the tablets, your life will be completely normal. And so you do that, and for like 6 months, a year, he's right, nothing happens. And then you have a massive flare up one day, and you have a diabetic flare up, and you feel terrible, and you have to take the day off work and lie in bed, and it's horrible. Well, you wouldn't respond to that by saying, well, the medication's crap. I'm not taking the medicine anymore because it blatantly doesn't work because I had a flare up. In that situation, you'd just say, I had a blip, carry on doing what I was doing before. And that should be your mentality with drinking. If you have a slip and you drink, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, well, it doesn't work. Just say, I had a blip, and you carry on. Don't give alcohol too much power, is basically what I'm saying. Hi to everyone who's just joined. I can see your comments, and I'll try and answer as many questions as I can. Hi, Adrian. Hi, Jan. Hi, Andrew. 3 years, 6 months off the poison. Nice. Robert Booth, legend. Welcome in, Robert. Okay. What I wanted to talk about today, and there'll be a blog article on the website a little bit later on as well, is sober friendship. Because I think one of the biggest trip up points for people who've recently got sober is they remove alcohol from their life, which is, for most people has been ingrained deeply into a problematic level for years, often decades. And, I talk about my 2-decade-long battle with alcohol. It was, it was a part of my life. Now, to say, it was 2 decades of battling, it wasn't really, because for the first 10 years, I didn't think it was a problem. In fact, I thought alcohol was one of the best things in my life because it just kind of fitted in with all the good things that happened. If I was out having fun with my friends, alcohol was there. If I was on vacation, sitting by the pool, alcohol was there. If I was in a nice restaurant, having a very nice meal, alcohol was there. And so, for the first 10 years, I didn't see it as a problem. I saw it as an accompaniment to good times. And, I was considered a very social guy, bit of a party animal. Not that that's my nature. It's just that if there was a party going on, I would be there. And I didn't put 2 and 2 together at that point and come to the conclusion that I only did that because I knew there'd be alcohol there. So I was very good value at parties because I'd turn up and I'd bring extra alcohol with me because I'd be worried, consciously or subconsciously, that you wouldn't have enough. I'd drink very quickly. I'd get a bit cheeky, a bit funny, a bit rude, and then I'd collapse at the end of the night. But I was kind of a happy drunk. So I had lots of friends, or so I thought. And then when I stopped drinking, I've got to be honest with you, the number of friends I would consider I have dramatically dropped. I think when I was drinking, thank you, Spice, a $9.99 super chat. Thank you very much. I see other YouTubers talking about these. I think I've had one before, so you're my second. Thank you, Spice. I appreciate it. What was I talking about? You completely lost my direction there by impressing me with $10. That's how easily I am distracted. So yeah, my network of friends dropped dramatically. And I think, when I was drinking, I had something like 2,000 friends on Facebook. If I go and look at my Facebook account now, I think I've got 98, 99, something like that. And it's not that I had so many friends before. It's just that I lived in the illusion that I did. And that's what drinkers do. They live in this illusion that they have lots of friends. And actually, what you'll find when you get sober for a long period of time is you'll look at these people that you formerly labeled friends, and you'll realize they weren't actually your friends. They were just people who liked to do the same drug as you. And actually, if you were in a tight situation, a great many of them would disappear. They wouldn't be there. They wouldn't want to get involved in your drama. They wouldn't want to help out because they don't really care that much about you. It's just that drinkers like social proof. Drinkers like safety in numbers. They like to be able to sit drinking poison and look around the room and see other intelligent human beings also drinking poison, because subconsciously it's a bit of a safety blanket. I think, unconsciously, we all know at the back of our head that drinking diluted poison routinely is not a very sensible decision. And so we got two choices, haven't we? We can either stop doing that, or we can find plausible deniability. We can find something to justify it. And seeing other people also doing the same routine provides us a sense of comfort. So when you stop drinking, one thing you must do is you've got to assume that removing this big part of your life is going to have a domino effect. It's going to change other areas of your life, whether you like it or not. And a lot of people try and force their old life into their new life. So, if back when they were drinking, they used to go to the pub on a Friday night with their mates. Saturday, they would go to the football and have a few drinks afterwards. And Sunday, they would drink wine all day, sitting on the sofa. They will try and do all the stuff that they previously did. And often they find that it's not as enjoyable. Friday night at the pub, what was once funny now becomes annoying and irritating. And the behavior of the people you're with is no longer amusing to you. It's just slightly embarrassing. And then, the football game and going to the pub afterwards, it's crowded and there's too many people in there and the drinks are expensive. And suddenly things that you previously enjoyed start to irritate you. And it's very easy to get angry at being sober. It's very easy to say, well, it's because I don't drink anymore. Life was better when I was drinking. And it's not. It's just that, when you're drinking, you're living inside an artificial bubble. You're choosing to live in a world that isn't real. It's like, drink this liquid and all the buffoons in the bar get funny. They're not really funny. It's just because you're drinking. So if you stop drinking and don't change anything else, you are going to struggle, because there are going to be many situations that have changed in how they feel. And so the question that I want to talk about today is, well, what do you do about that? And the answer is, you have to change what fun means to you, because it no longer means sitting in a bar for 6 hours straight. It no longer means sitting all day on the sofa drinking wine, watching videos. But I tell you what you will find when you get long enough sober is you'll be able to look at your life and see it for what it is. You'll be able to see the big picture. And there will be things that you used to do before alcohol completely took control of your life that you used to love. And it has nothing to do with drinking. Think back to when you were in your late teens or your early 20s, before alcohol kind of got a grip on you. There would be hobbies and social things that you used to do that you used to love. For example, for me, when I was kind of 12, 13, 14, I was big into photography. I loved photography. I used all my dad's old camera equipment, the Nikon stuff, and I went in the dark room and I exposed my own photographs, loved it. And did it obsessively as a hobby. And then when alcohol got a hold of me, I didn't even pick up a camera for 20 years. That hobby just disappeared, because given the opportunity, I would drink. Any spare opportunity, I would drink alcohol. When I quit drinking, not only did I rediscover photography, I actually became a professional photographer for about 3 years. I went back to school. I did the qualifications. I started entering competitions. I won a gold award with the Society of Wedding and Portrait Photographers for a boudoir shoot that I did. I got really passionate about it. And this is just something that had been missing from my life for 20 years because alcohol stole it from me. And so I encourage you, when you stop drinking, don't leave a vacuum. Don't leave an empty space where alcohol once was, because it's going to hurt and it's going to trip you up. Fill those gaps with things that you love doing. Think back to your childhood. Think back to your younger years. What did you like doing? And I've told the story previously about a lady from, I think she was from Orlando. She used to be a ballroom dancer. Loved dancing. It was her complete passion in life. And didn't do it for 30 years. gave it up for 30 years because all she wanted to do was drink. And she quit drinking at the age of, I think it's like 67, I think she was, nearly 70 years old. And the first thing she did when she quit drinking, she went back to dance class at the age of 70. And you should have seen her face. It was like she'd just come alive again. So it's never too late. And go back to what you used to love. That's how you fill your time. And that's how you meet new people as well. Because, you know, if you're into golf or kayaking or paintballing or photography or art, you go to places where people do that. Go to night school, take an art class, learn a language, do something. Let's say hello to a few people here before they disappear from my screen. MC, good morning, Craig from Yorkshire. Just started my 3rd week alcohol-free. Cravings have come and gone, but stood firm. Total psychological freedom awaits, and that's so encouraging. Absolutely right. Life is just better when you're not drinking poison for fun, because you experience more of it. It's basically like getting 30% more life free, because A, you have more clarity and focus. You have more awareness of what's going around you. You have more of your brain power, and you have more time. Because I don't know about you, but I used to collapse in my chair, you know, in my lazy boy armchair, maybe 8:30 on a night. I was just unconscious with an anesthetic in me. How's Yorkshire this morning? Is it looking good? I went to school in Yorkshire, in a little village called Scorton, near Richmond. Avinash, a lot of my friends were friends before we got into the drinking together, but they're very much aware, as much as me, that what we're doing is dangerous. We're trying to get out of it together. That's a great situation to be in, because often it's unusual. And so you should be very grateful for that, because normally this is normally, I mean like 99.9% of the time, this is a solo journey. Someone wakes up and thinks, I can't do this anymore. I'm sick of poisoning myself. Enough is enough. And they take action. And they kind of raise their standards above the rest of the group. And the rest of the group often respond unconsciously, but nonetheless, they respond negatively to this. And they try and pull you back into the loop. And I've talked about this many times. They do it not because they hate you or because they want you to fail. It's because your action has caused them psychological pain. You have highlighted that what they're doing must stop one day, one way or another. And by raising your standards, you've highlighted their low standards. And they have two choices. They can either raise their standards to your level and stop drinking, or they can pull you back down to their level. And it's much easier for them to pull you back than to raise their game. So enjoy that, because that's a good situation to be in, and you can encourage each other and remind each other why you're making this decision. Nikita, are all people here boomers? I don't think so, Nikita. I don't think I fit into the, I'm 46 years old. I don't think I'm a boomer, because boomers are the 2 generations after the Second World War, aren't they? I don't want to be a boomer. I don't think I am, but okay. Miles, I like walking, hours upon hours of walking. The longer the walk, the better. You know, if you have a pet dog, dogs love sober owners. When you get sober, your dog gets happier because they get longer walks and they get better walks. Knopfler, how's your running going, Craig? Curious as to whether your fitness has continued to improve since going sober. It was going great until lockdown. It was going great. I've been one of those optimistic people with this lockdown thing, who's continually all the way through said a couple of months and it'll be over. And here in Cyprus, they've been so strict with it. They've closed everything, and the gyms closed. And I used to go to the gym every day of the week, and then they closed the gyms, and they haven't been open since. And all I've done pretty much is sit on a sofa, watching TV, and being very lazy. all under the false illusion that lockdown's about to end any minute. And when it ends, I'll get back to the gym. So I'm sorry, not for my fitness has gone through the floor for the moment. I hope to fix that soon. Let me just, I'll come back to the message. I just want to share something with you because this is kind of handy. A lot of people are kind of, they've been so ingrained in the routine of socializing in a pub and with alcohol that they don't know what to do. So, I've given you a few suggestions, go to night school, learn something new, learn a language, take up an old hobby, that sort of thing. Or the beauty of the internet these days is there are social opportunities everywhere. This is something that didn't exist for newly sober people, even kind of 10, 15 years ago. But if you go there's loads of sites like this one, like Meetup, where you just put in your location and you can just scroll through loads of events that are going on. Most of them are free. If there's a price, they're normally pretty small, but no matter what you're interested in, you will find something on here to go to. And I don't think I've ever seen any on here, apart from wine tasting events, that are about alcohol. In fact, look here, this is talking about getting into design. Come and grab a coffee. And there's so many things. And a really good thing about this site is if what you want to do doesn't exist, if you're into a particularly niche hobby, like a certain type of classic car, then you can find people on here who are also into the same thing as you and arrange your own meetup. You don't need to book a conference room or anything like that. You can say, let's meet up in Costa Coffee, 10 o'clock Saturday morning. And even if you only get 2 or 3 people there, it snowballs and it gets bigger and bigger. And then you get to spend your time talking about the thing you're most passionate about. And this is how you fill your diary. You can sometimes even find sober events. And if there aren't any, you can set one up. But you can put any sort of keyword in here and it will give you some suggestions. So that's a good option. Meetup. It's not so great in Cyprus because there's very little going on in Cyprus. In fact, let's see if there's anything. I live in a very sleepy part of the world. Yeah, there we go. There are no events of any description. Okay. So let's get rid of that. I'll come back to you. All right, last couple of minutes. Do you have any questions? Is there anything concerning you? Is there anything you need help with stopping drinking? If you want some more information on how my course works, then go to the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com, and sign up for today's webinar, and it'll kind of talk you through the process of how it works. Hi, Andrea, 5 o'clock in the morning, wherever you are. Welcome in. Natalie, same as me, 46. Yeah, we're not boomers, are we, Natalie? I don't know what description our age group is, but I'm pretty sure it's not boomer. My dad's a boomer and he reads the Daily Mail. He's insufferable. Enrique, doing the course right now, 21 days sober. Nice. Keep going, Enrique. You're doing fantastic. Darren Marriott, still alcohol free since the 1st of January, loving life, still drawing, as I mentioned on the last train. Awesome. Let's see what else we got here. Robert says, my problem is I did all the running and weight training, golf and darts alongside the regular heavy drinking. On a run, I'd tell myself that if I run this 10K in under 7 minutes, I could drink that evening. Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Look behind me. There's a treadmill here, right? And I go on it every day. But honestly, my mentality is wrong at the moment, Robert. I go on this treadmill and all the time I'm thinking, if I do an extra 10 minutes, I can grab a bag of popcorn and go and watch Breaking Bad for the 3rd time. Completely wrong mentality, but I know where you're coming from. Darren McCartney, 6 weeks alcohol-free, still feel bad. When will this pass? It depends what you mean by bad. It's worth getting a checkup at the doctor because I'm not a doctor. I can't give you medical advice. One thing you should probably think about is alcohol is very good at covering up other problems. So it's not always right to assume that you feel bad because you've stopped drinking. That's another mistake that people make. I had a guy a couple of years ago, 10 weeks after stopping drinking, he still couldn't get to sleep at night. And he said, well, my life is worse now because I stopped drinking. The sleep is probably a different problem that needs to be addressed, and alcohol was just covering it up. And if you feel bad, I don't know what the specifics are, Darren, but go to a doctor and just get some tests done to find out why you feel bad. Don't assume that you feel bad because you removed alcohol. It could be that alcohol was just covering it up. Because don't forget, alcohol is a poor quality one, but it is a painkiller. It's a mild anesthetic. And so a lot of the little aches and pains that we have are sometimes anesthetized by this drug that we take. And also in the past, when you're drinking, sometimes when you feel bad, you say, oh, that's a hangover. I feel bad because I drank a lot yesterday, and so on and so on. So dangerous to make assumptions, but if it's generally just kind of low energy and feeling a little bit cranky, also remember that you've changed the environment in which your body lives. Your body, you didn't start drinking the quantity you were drinking when you stopped, did you? Straight away, you started off on, sweet ciders and, things like that. And you progressed, and then you got into whiskey and vodka, and it went like that. And you built up this tolerance. Your body learned to live with poison in your system because it's a self-protection mechanism. You're drinking poison, but your body is kind of hardwired to keep you alive at all costs. And so it got used to there being poison in your system. And then you suddenly stop. And it's almost like the air that you breathe just changed its composition. Everything got slightly different. And your body has to adjust. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's like when you move to a new country. It's like I'm a British guy, but I've lived in Cyprus for 6-7 years now. So for me, I put a jumper on when my friends in England are putting their t-shirts on, because I've got to acclimatize to where I live. And you have to get acclimatized to living without alcohol in your system. But I recommend a checkup with a doctor. Just check everything's okay. Enrique, thank you. We are Generation X. You're 48, I'm 46, so we're Generation X. Okay, that's good to know. I'm not sure what that gets me, but I'm glad I'm not a boomer. Andrea, my business is kind of dead. I get 5 days and boom, I get a tall boy or two, but not real drunk. Andrea, you're saying that my business is kind of, you're talking about your financial business, and that's why you're drinking. Look, the one thing that alcohol does, if you're self-employed, I firmly believe that you'll never achieve your full potential while you're drinking if you're running your own business, simply because it steals a good percentage of your brain power and your creativity. And when you're running your own business, you've got to twist and turn. When the world changes, like in a pandemic, you have to think and be very creative and quick on your feet and change things. Otherwise, you're going to sink. And if you just sit there and hope that things get better, you will be one of the disaster stories of this pandemic. The businesses who are going to thrive are the ones who say, okay, I see what's happened. How are we going to change? Now, the problem is when you're a problem drinker is that you've only got 70% of your brain power. And you've only got 70% of your time available, because it's going to get to a certain point of the day and you're going to think, screw it, I'm going to have a drink instead. And as soon as you drink, you're not coming up with anything creative. And if you stay in that loop long enough, your business goes down the toilet. So, one thing I noticed when I quit drinking was my business got better. My revenue got better. My income got better. I don't believe it's a coincidence. I believe that when I stopped drinking poison for fun, I got some brain power. I got the ability to think a bit more clearly and to do more, different things. So it's, I know it's tempting to take an anesthetic when life is tough, but it's actually the opposite of what you need to do. In tough times, This is when you really have to buckle down and say, okay, now's the time to start fighting, because that's what it's all about. That's, passion and persistence are how you win, in my opinion. Robert, I was going to mention the treadmill in the background. Keep going with it, Craig. Yeah, I've even got a weight stack over here. That's even less use. Anyway, I'll keep at it, Robert. Don't worry. Hi to Nick Grantham. Hello from Wetherby. I've been through Wetherby on a train many times. I'm not sure if I ever got off. What else we got? We're going to wrap up soon. So if you've got any questions that you need an urgent answer to, fire them up now. Supplements, B vitamins, fit recovery on YouTube. Yeah, I talk about supplements quite a lot, Andrea, in the course. I do recommend B vitamins. Alcohol is particularly aggressive on two types of nutrients that we need. The B vitamins, it's like napalm. It just rips through it. That's why alcoholics, seriously addicted alcoholics, get something called wet brain. It's a severe vitamin V deficiency, and it presents itself almost like Alzheimer's, like mental problems. You slur your words, you can't remember things, and so on and so on. And those people need an intravenous drip of B vitamins. It's so severe. So problem drinkers, I encourage to take B vitamins, also omega-3, because alcohol's very aggressive on fat. If you spill a bit of fat on your sofa and you try and wipe it off with water, it doesn't really do much. Use a bit of alcohol, comes straight off. And the same thing happens inside your body. So these essential fats that your brain needs, like omega-3, get dissolved by the alcohol. So omega-3 is really good to add. Curcumin, just because it's fantastic anti-inflammatory. It's a fantastic anti-carcinogenic. It's great for mental health and mood. A broad spectrum multivitamin. And I talk a little bit about 5-HTP on the course as well, but there's a little bit of a disclaimer with that one. What else we got here? Stephen, I've been sober for almost 3 years, but I can't help but reminisce on alcohol and the social life I had prior. I can't seem to adjust to having it out of my life even after this time. Yeah. I understand where you're coming from, Stephen. I've got friends here in Cyprus, and when I see their Facebook feed, they're always out. Literally every night of the week, they're out. And you see all these fun pictures of them having a laugh and singing and dancing. And sometimes I look at that and I go, that sucks, because I know if I went along to these nights, I'd hate it, because I'd find it really irritating and loud and too many people there and so on and so on. And it does seem that there are certain people where everything is built around alcohol, and that basically means you can't spend as much time with them as you want. So I get where you're coming from, but it's look, it's a choice, isn't it? It's a choice about how you want your life to go. And you do this in other areas. You make conscious decisions where you decide not to have the fun thing because you want this thing. It's like if you're saving for your pension, your 401k, as I think it is in the States, if you're saving for your pension, you do it, don't you? Because you understand that that's the sensible, right decision to do. But the fun thing to do is to take all that money and spend it on a boat, or go on crazy vacations, or just do whatever the hell you want. That's the fun thing to do. To save it and be diligent requires maturity, intelligence, and a bit of long-term thinking. It's the same with alcohol. The crazy fun thing to do is to go to the pub every night. But at some point, pretty soon, you're going to be sitting looking at your life going, what a mess. What a miserable existence I've got, because I wasn't strong enough to make the sound decision. So don't give alcohol too much power, which we do. The fun thing to do is to sit on the sofa eating cake, and going to the gym is the sensible thing to do. But that once you commit to the gym and you go routinely and you get into it, it becomes a part of your life and it's no longer a chore. So just try and keep things in focus. But I do empathize. I know where you're coming from. Spice, how do we help get our spouse to stop drinking? Okay, let me come back to that. I just want to check this one by M21. Sorry for asking again, but you didn't see the first one. Is it normal to feel weirdly anxious at night a few times after stopping drinking? Yes, it is, because anxiety is kind of how the drug makes you drink. The way any drug works is by carrot and stick, as in it hits you with a stick to hurt you when you don't use it, and then it rewards you when you do, and it keeps you in this loop. So you use the drug, gives you the reward, takes away that edgy feeling that you have, that anxious feeling, and then that reward fades off, and now it hits you with a stick again to make you feel uncomfortable, brings back in the anxiety. So guess what you do? You drink, reward begins again, and this is the loop. And actually, you know, when you stop drinking, the kick from the drug, that pain that it gives you, it feels a bit like mild anxiety. That's what the kick from alcohol feels like. It's like a jittery, on edge feeling, like you just can't relax. And you know, when you were drinking, you would have vocalized it as, "Oh, I could do with a drink." It's that, you know, you come home from work, you've had a tough day, the boss has been on your case, you get home, you take your coat off, and you go, "Oh, what a day, I could do with a drink." And you drink alcohol, and it goes away, and you go, "Oh, alcohol helped me relax. Alcohol took away the anxiety." Well, it didn't really. It only took away the thing that it put there in the first place to make you drink. So if you hadn't been drinking for like a couple of months, you wouldn't have had that amount of anxiety there anyway. So M21, try not to worry about it. You might need to come up with some kind of coping strategy for the anxiety, but just understand what's going on. This is the drug trying to manipulate you, because you know that if you just drink some alcohol, the anxiety will go away. And it knows you know this. So don't underestimate that, you know, the psychology of what's going on here. It's a simple, stupid drug, but it knows you very well, and it knows how to manipulate you. So it will fade, by the way. Give it a couple of weeks and it'll slowly start to fade away. Have a look at tapping therapy. I talk about it in the course I do, but tapping is just a simple, it's called thought field therapy, or TFT, something like that. And you tap on certain meridian points in the body, and it helps just turn off the cortisol release by your body and helps you cope with anxiety attacks a little bit better. Do a little bit of research on that. Let's come back to Spice. How do we help get our spouse to stop drinking? This is a really tough one. Because this journey is always a solo journey. And I you know, at boot camp, I talk about this being a tightrope walk. You're going to walk along this rope on your own. There is no other option. Your husband or your wife, they can come along behind you, or they can go ahead of you. But the one thing they can't do is they can't hold your hand and come with you. This is a solo journey. Now, whether you can encourage them to stop drinking or not depends on whether they want to stop drinking. If they want to stop drinking, then you can be supportive and you can encourage them and you can point them in the direction of the right material and the right information. But that's pretty much all you can do, because it's almost like the harder you try and push them in the direction you want them to go, even if they also want to go in that direction, the harder you push them, the more they resist. And I've seen this in myself. It's embarrassingly stupid. You know, about a month ago, I said to my wife, I said, I'm going on a diet. I've had enough of this lockdown nonsense of sitting around eating all day. I said, I'm going on a diet. I don't want any dessert at night. I want smaller portions, and I'm going to stick to it, and I'm going to do this. And then I think it was the second night of the diet, my wife had cooked a meal, and she put it in front of me, and it was tiny. And I looked at it and I thought, this is crap. I feel, oh, this is terrible. And I was aware that I was fighting against my own rules at that point. My wife wasn't trying to punish me. She was only doing what I asked her to do to help me. But when she did it, I started to fight against it. So human beings are stupidly complex. So you can't push too hard. This has to be their decision. The best thing you can do is lead by example and demonstrate how good life gets when you stop drinking alcohol. Because that's they can't resist that. You're not trying to force your views on them. You're not trying to change the direction of their life. You're just being a good role model. And the other benefit of this as well is if you've got kids, if you've got children, especially if they're teenagers, tell a teenager they're not allowed to drink. You're just wasting your voice. They don't care what you say. You tell a teenager to tidy their bedroom, they don't care. They don't value your opinion at this point. So you might as well save your breath. But if you can demonstrate through your actions, that's much more powerful. That subconsciously goes in. It gets past the gatekeeper of the conscious mind. It subconsciously goes in. So be a good role model, but understand that you can't force them. This is a solo journey. And if they adamantly refuse to stop drinking, you just got to look after yourself. That's their decision. You can't change it. In fact, the only person you can change is the one that looks back in the mirror at you every morning. So if you're living with a drinker, rule number one, protect yourself, protect your own sobriety. Everything else comes a clear second. Look after yourself. Oh, look, my son's online, Jordan Beck. If you're into gaming, by the way, my son has a fantastic gaming YouTube channel called Screaming Banshee. So go and check that out. Let's have a look what else we got here. David gave up alcohol October 2017. Thanks to finding your videos. I can count on one hand the amount of times I've stumbled since, but now I'm completely sober and my life has never been better. Fantastic, David. Nice. And that's, it's good that you admit that you made a few stumbles, because I think a lot of people, when they drink, when they say the 5 most dangerous words anyone can say on planet Earth, which are just one drink won't hurt, and they drink and they say, well, that's it. It's over now. I've got to go back to drinking full time, which is the wrong way to think about it. It's a stumble. Don't give it more power than it needs. Just dust yourself down. Don't beat yourself up too much. Just say, it happened. I learned another lesson, and dust yourself down and you carry on. That's the best mentality to have. Steve says he's 53 years old. Motivation is my 3-year-old granddaughter. Yeah. And you know what, Steve? There's some really interesting research that shows that children under the age of about 6 or 7, because they don't have the critical thinking, they don't have the ability to assess whether something is real or not, because they just don't have the data to compare it to. So pretty much everything that your granddaughter experiences and watches you do before the age of 7 is taken as fact. This is why you can tell children, stories about the Easter Bunny and they don't question it, because why would they question it? From their point of view, with their limited amount of data, you are a superhuman being. They've got no reason to doubt what you say, so you can say anything you want to them. And so, if you're drinking in the house with a very small child and they see you using alcohol to cope with stress, to cope with loneliness, to cope with this, to cope with that, it goes in at quite a profound level, and you're actually programming your child to have the same problems in life that you have. And it doesn't matter what you say. It's all subconsciously absorbed. So you're doing a really, really good thing for your granddaughter there, Steve, and stick at it. Terence Cragg, fantastic podcast, CB. Love listening to your wise words. Thank you, Terence. I appreciate that. Avinash, gaming is great, but playing online and dealing with gaming stress can be a massive trigger, especially if you play League of Legends. Yeah, you see, Jordan, you're triggering people. You and your you just trigger people. You should be ashamed of yourself. Darren, keep doing what you do. Craig, awesome work. Good vibes. You've changed my life. Appreciate it. All right, guys, look, we're going to wrap up there because what am I on? 45 minutes. And I think that'll do of me wittering on. I'll try and do another one very soon. So keep your questions ready and we'll do that. Thank you so much for being with me today. If you are worried about your drinking, why don't you make today the day you do something? Go to the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com, sign up for the free webinar, and I'll talk you through how my process works. And I'll even give you a copy of my best-selling book, Alcohol Lied to Me, as a free gift just for turning up. Thank you, guys. Stay well. Stay away from this nasty virus.